everyone, this is Gina. Today I'm going to show you how to make this bracelet that I'm calling crisscross crystals. And the reason I'm calling it that is because the original stitch we do before we embellish it with the crystals looks like little crisscross, little X's basically. So this is what this looks like. This is the clasping. I'll take it off my wrist and show you what it looks like. And that's what that looks like. I think it's really very cute. Turned out really nice. I really like it. So let's go ahead and look and see what we need for this particular project. Give you a close-up here. And let's get started. Okay, for this project today, I'm going to be using some 6mm Swarovski bicones. One is an amethyst color and the other is a rose color. I will be also using some, or maybe it's fuchsia, I'm not sure, it's pink. And then I will be using 2 colors of 11-0 seed beads. You will need for your main color more than for your secondary color. And I am using the galvanized aluminum silver tone Toho permanent finish for my main color 11-0. And then I will be using dark bronze for my other color 11-0, and then I will be using 8-0s, and this is rose gold Toho, and then I will be using some 4mm round pearlized drukes, and this is a, I believe it's a copper, and then I will be using this copper tone toggle clasp. I will also be using some 8-pound Fireline, and I'm going to be using it in the smoke color. I will also be using a size 10 beading needle. So let's go ahead and thread onto our needle a full wingspan. You may want to put 2 wingspans if you don't want to extend as quickly as putting on 1 wingspan, but I like to work with a smaller amount. You will more than likely need to extend your Fireline in this project. So go ahead and thread onto your needle a comfortable length of thread and we'll get started. To start this project, we will pick up a 4mm round bead, and then we will pick up 4 of our main color 11-0 seed beads, then an 8-0, then 4 more 11-0 in the main color, and then we will pick up another 4mm round bead, and then 4 11-0s in the main color. So I will show you what I have. 4mm round, 4 11-0s, an 8-0, 4 11-0s, a 4mm round, and 4 11-0s. Then I'm going to bring this down to the end of my thread. Leave a very long tail, about 12 inches, if you want to use that to attach a clasp. Or leave at least enough to extend your Fireline so that you can attach your clasp, which is what I'm going to do, so you don't have to watch me struggle around my tail. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through this 8-0 seed bead. I'm going to hold on to the pearl and the 11-0s beneath that 8-0, and I am going to pull my thread just through that 8-0 seed bead. Like so. And then I'm going to pick up 4 more 11-0 seed beads onto my needle. Like so. And I'm going to go back through the tail side of my pearl. So through the side the tail is coming out of, I'm going to go through that pearl. And then I'm just going to pull my tail and my working thread, and now I have this little funny bow tie looking thing. I'm going to sew back through this because I don't want to tie a knot, so I'm going to sew back through it to secure it. So I'm coming out of my pearl here. I'm just going to go straight down these 11-0s into the 8-0 and then into the 11-0s diagonal. So just straight across diagonally, like so. Hold on to all your beads and your tail and pull this through because it is not secure, so you need to hold on to your beads. Then I'm going to go into this pearl that I'm coming out next to, right here, and go through it. Then I'm going to come back up through this side over here, diagonal, all the way through my 8/0 and the 11/0 on the opposite side of it. Just straight through. And still hold on to your piece. And then we're going to come through the purl again on this side. Now, because I want to be coming out of my 11/0 seed beads for my next step, and because I want to be where my opposite from where my tail is coming out, just so that this will be on the end for me to clasp, I'm going to go down through these 4 11/0s and exit the 8/0 here. Instead of going diagonal, I am then going to go down through the 4 11/0s beneath the 4 11/0s I went through originally before going through my 8/0, right there. So just straight down. And this positions my thread so that I can make my next unit. And make sure everything's tight and looks good. And then we will pick up an 8/0 seed bead, 4 11/0s in the main color again. We'll be using that the whole time until we do our embellishment steps. So I'm not going to say that every time. So an 8/0, 4 11/0s, an 8/0, 4 11/0s, and an 8/0, like so. Now we're coming out of these 4 11/0s here. We're going to go into the very top 11/0s, and we're going to go through all 4 of them and the 8/0 and exit the 8/0 and pull these new beads down. It just makes a little loop. Now we have to go through these 4 11/0s. It's difficult because of the angle they're at to do them all at once. If you can do them all at once, that's fine. But I'm going to go into these 4 11/0s here and pull my thread through. Then I'm just going to sew through this 8/0 here. And then because I want to be coming out of my 11/0s every time that I'm adding a purl or doing my next unit, I'm going to sew up through all of my 11/0s through the 8/0 and all the 11/0s on the other side of it. So just all these beads we just put on, we're going to go through all of them and pull. Give it a little tug. Tighten everything, make sure everything looks good. So now we've got this little funny straight line here. That will change, of course, because we are going to add a purl and then 4 11/0s. So pick up your 4mm round bead and 4 11/0s. And then we're going to go into this 8/0 here. So just go directly into this 8/0 and pull this down. We've got the beginning of our next unit. We need to finish it. So we're going to pick up 4 11/0 seed beads and then the 4mm round, and we're going to come into the 4 11/0s here. Just ignore these 8/0 seed beads, go into the 4 11/0s, go into the 8/0 and the 4 11/0s on the other side in a diagonal, like so, and pull. Now you have to tighten everything up because it wants to loosen. Because this wants to loosen, we will go ahead and sew through it one more time. We could start a next unit here, but it's just not secure enough. So I'm going to go through this bead here, the 4mm round, and then I'm going to go diagonal this way. So I'm going to go through all of these 11/0 seed beads, the 8/0, and the 4 11/0s on the other side of it, right here. And I'm going to pull my thread through. And now I'm ready to start my next unit. So I will pick up an 8/0 seed bead, 4 11/0s, an 8/0, and 4 11/0s, and one more 8/0. Oops, I got 2. So this is what you'll have: 8-0, 4-11-0s, 8-0, 4-11-0s, and an 8-0. Now we need to come up into the 11-0s on the opposite side. So we're coming out here, we're going to go up into these 11-0s, all four of them, and the 8-0, and pull our thread through. Then, excuse me, we have to go down into these four 11-0s. So go into these four here. Then go into the 8-0 just to position it correctly. Just go into it by itself, otherwise it doesn't sit the way you want it to. Like so. And then we need to make the other half of our unit, but because we need to come out of the 11-0s, we have to climb all the way up. All these 11-0s and the 8-0. We don't want to go directly into picking up the 4mm round from this 8-0. We have to be coming out of the 11-0s, otherwise it will not sit right for our next step. So there we go. Well, darn it. If I can get coordinated enough, there we go. And now that's the beginning of my next unit. So I will pick up my 4mm round bead, and then I will pick up 4 11-0 seed beads, and I will come down into this 8-0 in the center here, and exit it and just pull through like so. Now we have to make the other half of this side of the unit. So we'll pick up 4 11-0 seed beads and a purl, like so. Now I have to come up into these 11-0s here on this side. So just kind of straighten them out and come up through all 4 of those, and then the 4 behind them, like so, in a diagonal, and pull. Now, as before, this unit is weak up on the top here and not holding together nicely. So we have to sew through this 4mm round and through all of the beads in a diagonal on the other side of it. So I'm going to pull my thread through the 4mm round, and then I'm going to go through all of the beads, the 11-0s, the 8-0, all of the 11-0s, like so. And just pull it through. There we go. And now we're in position to do our next unit. So we'll pick up an 8-0. We will pick up 4 11-0s and an 8-0 and 4 11-0s and an 8-0. 8-0, 4 11-0s, 8-0, 4 11-0s, 8-0. And then again, we will come up to the top of the stack of 11-0s here. So you're coming out of the bottom. We're going to go to the top, go through all of these beads, like so. And then just pull these around. Go through your 8-0. And just the 8-0, just so that it positions it correctly. And then we will go up through all of the beads. And we go up through all of them on this step just so that we are exiting the 11-0s to put our purl on. So then we'll pick up a purl, 4 11-0s, and we will go through the 8-0 in the center of the beads we just put on, like so. And then we will pick up 4 11-0 seed beads, a purl, and then go up through the 11-0s on this side. And we will do this in a diagonal, so we can go up through all of the beads like so. Oops, I have 2 pearls on. Don't ask me how I did that. So anyway, pick up a pearl and 4 11-0 seed beads and then go up through all of your beads. And pull. And here again, we need to secure this unit, so we'll go through this pearl here, and then we'll go down in a diagonal all the way through all the beads again. And make sure you don't miss any. And then we're ready to start our next unit. So continue making units just like this until you have 17 units, or you stop an inch short of the length you desire. This is 6 inches long, and I'm counting the units by counting the middle, the middle seed beads. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And I have 17. This makes it right at 6 inches, like I said. Once I put my clasping on, it'll be a little over a 7-inch bracelet, so maybe 7.5 inches. My wrist is 6.5 inches, so I like my bracelet to be about 7.5 inches to give it a little play, or just a little over 7. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add clasping on this end, and then we will do some embellishing. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm coming out of my last unit. Now I'm going to secure this unit one more time just to make sure that it's nice and neat and tight and secure. So I'm coming out of these 11-0 seed beads after finishing the last unit. I'm going to go into the pearl, and then I'm going to go down into the seed beads in a diagonal here. So I've already gone through it once, securing it, just like we did all of the other units. And I'm just going to go through it again, just to make sure it's nice and neat, like so. Now I'm going to pick up an 8-0 seed bead and 4 11-0s and an 8-0 seed bead, like so. 8-0, 4 11-0s, 8-0. I'm going to drop this down. Then I'm going to pick up my clasp, and I'm going to use the round end, and I'm going to pick it up, go through it, the loop here, and then I'm going to go through the 8-0 seed bead right here and pull this down to the 8-0 seed bead, like so. And then I'm going to pick up 4 11-0 seed beads and an 8-0. Like so. And then I am going to go through these 4 11-0s right here and the 8-0 in the center. Then I will go through these 4 here on the bottom here, pull it through. This is what it should look like. I will make it nice and neat as we secure it. So straighten it up to where it looks nice. Come up through the 8-0 here, and then come up through the 4 11-0s, back up through the 8-0 and the clasp, like so. Go around the clasp, back into the 8-0, the 4 11-0s, the 8-0 here. And then back into all of the seed beads here that we're attaching to. So these 4 11-0s and the 8-0 in the center. Then I'll go back into these 11-0s here, which I pulled them tight, so I have to get a different angle. Sorry guys, but I just have to do that to get my needle back in. And I'll secure this one more time by sewing through all of this. Then I'm going to extend my Fireline after I've secured this, and I'm coming back out my 11-0s here. I will then extend my Fireline, and we will come back and continue with our next step. So go ahead and secure it again. If you need to extend your Fireline, go ahead and extend it, and we'll be back. Okay, so I have secured my end, and I've extended my Fireline. And if you do not know how to extend your Fireline, look on my GGC's Beginning Beaders channel, and video number 4 will show you how to do that. So anyway, this is where we are now. We're going to get out our other color of 11O seed beads. Let me back off just a little bit. And we're going to do an embellishment down the sides. And then we will probably add the clasping on this side too. So it wasn't truly necessary to leave a tail. However, if you just want to sew through and do your clasping later with that, that's fine too. So let's go ahead and start our first little embellishment. Let me get a little closer. I'm going to pick up an 11O seed bead. I'm coming out of these 11Os right here, this little row of 11Os. Now I'm picking up an 11O in my other color, and I'm going to go directly into the pearl and pull my extension through. And then I'm going to pick up another 11O. I'm coming out of the pearl. I am going to go into the next 8O seed bead in line here. So just go into an 8O, the 8O next to the pearl, and place an 11O seed bead in there. And we're going to do this the entire length. So I'm coming out of this 8O, I'm going to go into the pearl and pull it tight, and again go into the next 8O, you're coming out of the pearl. And let's continue doing that the entire length. When we get to the very end, we'll be back. Okay, so I have put my 11O seed bead in between the units all the way to the end here. Now I have decided to go ahead and use my working thread to put on my clasping. Sometimes people don't like to do that. They like their clasping to be separate, so if it breaks, it doesn't interrupt the bracelet. That's fine. I like to sew mine in because I feel like it's more secure. That's my train of thought on it, is that having the clasp part of the weave of the bracelet is much stronger. However, I've heard some people say they don't like to do it that way. So you can go ahead and reserve this thread that you started with from the beginning, and you can just sew through these seed beads all the way over and start putting your 11O seed bead on this side. Just make sure as you come out of these beads, you put an 11O seed bead here and then start again. And at the end here, you put one. And then start putting them all the way down. However, I'm just going to go ahead and use my working thread because I'm here, I have it, and that's the way that I like to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm coming out of this pearl after putting my last 11O on here. I am going to pick up an 11O seed bead, and then I'm going to sew through all of these beads on this side, so these 4, and then I'm going to go into the 8O, and I'm going to pull my thread through. After I do that, I am then going to cut this tail down so it doesn't get in my way. Later I'll burn this down. Now I am going to go through the next 4 seed beads here, so I'm just going to turn my piece so I can get to it better. I'm coming out of the 8O, I'm going to pick up these 4 here. Maybe I'll pick up these 4. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to pick up an 8O seed bead, then I'm going to pick up 4 11Os in my original main color, so 4 11Os, and then I'll pick up an 8O, drop these down, I'll pick up my clasp and go through it, and then I am going to go back through the 8O here, right under the clasp, hold on to my beads, pull this through, like so, and then I will pick up 4 11O seed beads, and an 8/0, and I will ignore this 11/0 that I just put on here, and I will go down into these 4 here. If you can go all the way across, that's fine too. Just go all the way across, because you have to go through all of these beads anyway, so you can either do it in one swoop, or you can do it in 2. It doesn't matter. Now I've come all the way up through this 8/0 here. I'm going to go through these 4 again, up through my 8/0, up through my clasp, around my clasp, down my 8/0, and all the way back around. And then back down into these beads. Now, after I get all the way through all these beads, I will secure this by sewing through it, just like I just did, again, and then we will be back. So, pull through. I will secure this, and I'll be back as soon as I'm done. Okay, so I have gone ahead and sewn through and secured my clasp one more time. And now I'm just going to doctor up this end a little by cutting this thread down a little bit more. And then I'm going to take my lighter, melt it down just by getting the heat close to it. Don't light it on fire, just get it close and let it melt in. And then we are now coming out of these 11/0s here. We will pick up an 11/0 of our second color again, and we'll go into this 4mm round bead right here, the pearl. Go through it. And we will begin doing the same thing, going from pearl to 8/0 to pearl to 8/0 to pearl to 8/0, putting our second color of 11/0s in. So I'm coming out of the pearl, I'm going to go into the 8/0. And again, go from the 8/0 to the pearl, and we're going to do this entire side just like we did the other side. And when we're done, we'll be back. So I have finished doing this entire side. I'm coming out of this pearl here, and we need to add one more little 11/0 seed bead to the very end here so that it'll match the ends of the other rows that we did. Now make sure when you do this that you pull your embellishment nice and tight. Don't curve your bracelet. Make sure it's the same on both sides, but make sure there's no slack, because this is going to establish your embellishment by doing this next step. So I'm picking up an 11/0 seed bead, and I'm going directly into this these 4 11/0s and this 8/0 here, and I'm going to exit the 8/0 seed bead. So just go directly into the 8/0 here, and then you can pop that 11/0 down into place. Now we're ready to start our next embellishment. Like I said, make sure everything is nice and neat, that you don't have one side pulled tighter than the other so that your bracelet is curving funny. Everything is nice and neat. You can adjust the tension in the embellishments at this point. Now, we're going to do, this is really pretty just the way it is. This would make a nice little bracelet just the way it is. So here, you could tie off if you wanted to. Just sew through, tie a few knots, and tie off and be done with it. But I want to put a little embellishment down the center because I like sparkles, so, you know, gotta have my bling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my 6mm bicone crystals. I am going to use a rose, then a purple, then a rose, then a purple, and just alternate them down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up an 11/0 seed bead, then I'm going to start with a rose and an 11/0 seed bead, like so. I am coming out of this 8/0 seed bead on this side towards my body here. I am going to go into the same side in the seed bead just opposite of the one I'm coming out of. So just go to this one, but go into the same side you're coming out of the previous one, and pull your bicone crystal nice and flush up against those 2 8/0s. Let's get a little closer so you can see. and then pick up an 11-0 seed bead and then your next color. Of course, you can do this with all one color. You can do every single one of them a different color. It doesn't matter. Whatever you think is pretty. I originally thought I would do every single one a different color, but then I decided just to alternate two. So I'm coming out of this 8-0 seed bead on this side. I'm going to go into this 8-0 seed bead in the same side that I'm coming out of this one. So I'm going to go into this one here and just the 8-0 like so. As I do this, I'll tighten my previous embellishment because it's loose until you do your next embellishment. So now I have this offset little embellishment. I'm going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead. I'm going to pick up my rose color and an 11-0 seed bead, and I'm going to go into the next 8-0 on the same side I'm coming out of the previous one. So, as you can see, this embellishment's falling out, and that's okay because as we do this one, it'll tighten that one up. So your previous one will always kind of be a little loose until you pull your current one through as you're doing this. So I'm going to pick up a purple one now and an 11-0 purple 11-0, go into my 8-0 here on the same side I'm coming out of the previous 8-0 and pull. And I'm just going to do this the entire length of the bracelet. And when I'm done, I'll be back. Okay, so I have finished putting my crystals on, and I'm coming out of this 8-0 seed bead right here after putting my last crystal on, and as you can see, it's still loose. So I have to secure it, and the way I'm going to secure it is I'm coming out of the 8-0. I'm going to turn this so I can get to it a little better, and I'll get you a little closer. I am going to sew into these 4 11-0 seed beads here, right here. I'm coming out of this 8-0, of course. Sew into those, and I'm going to pull my embellishment tight, and then I'm going to go into this pearl here. So from the 11-0s right into the pearl. And here, I'm going to make sure all of my embellishment looks really nice. It's nice and tight. And here I'm going to tie a knot on this thread bridge. So I'm going to go right underneath the thread bridge between this bead and this pearl bead. And I'm going to tie a knot and pull it down between my beads. I am then going to go into the 4 11-0s here. If I can get through them. It's getting kind of tight because I sewed through that many times to do my clasping. And since that is kind of tight, what I'm going to do instead is I am going to, oh, maybe I can do that. Let's see. Yeah, I can do that. It's just tight. I'll just use my, that would be the optimal way to do it. I could sew up through my clasp again, but I'd really rather not. So I'm going to pull this through, and then I'll go through these 4 and I'll tie a knot on this side, and then I'll sew through a few more beads and secure this. So I'm going to go through these 4 11-0s if I can get coordinated and do this here. And again, it's a little tight. Just get it through the best you can and pull it through. And then I'll go through the beads on this side right here. So I've gone through a few. I'm going to grab thread bridge right here between this 11-0 and this 8-0 on my work and tie a knot. Make sure the knot goes down between the beads, and then I'll sew down a few more. Now you can do this knotting off as much as you want. I'm going to go ahead and call that secure since my film is getting a little long, or my video, excuse me, and I'm going to cut this off, leaving a little length and getting some heat, and roll that down. Now I have my finished bracelet. I'll show you what it looks like. Whoop, whoop, whoop. this is what this finished bracelet looks like, and it's really pretty. Let me take my Fitbit off here, and I will put on the bracelet, and you can see what it looks like on my wrist. Now this turned out to be right at 7 inches, I believe, a little over 7 inches, because as we did the embellishment, pulling the little 11 O's through it shrinks it down a little bit. So it looks like it's going to be really big, but once you're done, it's not. So it's right at not 7.5 inches. That was my target. No, because when you measure, you have to measure the middle here, and I didn't do that. So it's just a little over 7 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on. Now, if you want to change the length of your bracelet, of course, that's just dependent upon the units that you do. So go about 1 inch short of your desired length. And by the time you put your embellishments and such through, it shrinks it down a little bit, and you get about 1/2 inch of play. And that's what I like. I like it to move a little bit on my wrist. I don't like it to be really tight. This is what this bracelet looks like. This is what the clasping looks like. I think it's really a very pretty bracelet. And I hope you enjoyed this video and make yourself one. Bye-bye.